And we are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Positive Power Hour. I'm Dan, your host, and Nicole, my beautiful co-host, is right next to us here, waving hello to everybody. God, I wish I was as photogenic as she is, My goodness.
Happy Power Hour Monday.
Happy Power Hour Monday. I'm trying to get my let's go with this banner today, right? Because I always want to remind people that entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. And here lately, I seem to be I seem to be meeting more and more young people, your children's age, who are becoming entrepreneurs.
Oh,
And I think that is so exciting because they are more creative in what they can do as an entrepreneur than in my day, where if you had a business, it was a labor intensive business and it was expensive and all of that. These kids can go on the internet and create God only knows what and make God only knows how much money, right? So much better than what it was in my day. Of course, when my day was when the dinosaurs were roaming the earth.
so who do
I
we have
see we
with
have
us
a Facebook
today?
user. I would
Yeah,
almost bet that's Irene.
I don't know. Let's see.
Hopefully, we'll find out here.
Yeah.
And a reminder to those of you that are joining us, we're always happy to have you on board. In fact, we encourage it and we encourage your comments because you may have that piece of information that somebody is watching either live or on the recordings that needs to hear what it was you had to say. Because God knows I don't know everything, right? I got
What?
plenty I don't. Well, yeah, I know it's shocking.
What?
But so your participation in this makes it better for everybody.
Yes.
And there is no stupid question, right? There is nothing you can say that somebody won't already have known about or have had those same kinds of problems or issues or that kind of thing. So when you get our notice to join us for Facebook Live, StreamYard, which is the service that we use to put this on with Facebook, has an agreement with Facebook that you have to verify that you want to have your name on the screen, like Kimberlyn here, who says hi guys, right?
Hi.
And your name will only show up if you click on the OK button there on that screen. Okay, so do us a favor and do that so we can have a more intimate conversation together.
Combo.
The thousands of us that are on this call. Hi, Kimmy. How are you? What's new in your world? I hope everything is going well.
She just got over being sick.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's the nice part about getting sick is eventually you get over it one way or the other.
My friend says there's a middle, beginning, and an end, and hopefully you're at the end.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Well, we're going to take a couple of minutes here just to get everybody on board and warmed up and everything. Yes, resting, getting better. Very good. I'm glad to hear that. We've been going through a lot of stuff with Kate and her health, and she's had a couple of things that require us going down to different hospitals and having procedures done twice every month, right? And often it's the same week, sometimes it's not, but it's very time consuming. And, when you only got 2 days off a week and you're spending them running to the hospitals and things, it kind of doesn't give you much time for anything else, right? But the great news is she's getting healthier and healthier. In fact, I would say she's healthier right now than she has been in years. And the doctors on both of the situations she gets treated for are extending out the amount of time between procedures because she's doing so well. And that's encouraging for her and it's encouraging for me. And the timing is just about perfect with everything we're working on with the marketing. I talked to my guy yesterday and the website is coming together. He's got 4 different examples he wants to show me very soon. And so everything is moving forward, and it feels nice to have somebody working in my business besides me.
Yes.
Always a good thing. One of the hardest things in the world is being a solopreneur.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing everything yourself, you don't have enough time, you don't have enough hours, you don't have enough energy. So it's very important to recognize the things that only you are good at or that you're the expert at, and hand off all the things that you can to people that are good at the things you're not, right?
Yeah.
And from the very beginning, I knew that my skill was not in marketing. Marketing messaging was difficult, and we finally nailed all that. So we're moving in the right direction. I'm very excited about that. All right. So we talked about the fact that we wanted to dig deeper into the attitude of gratitude, right?
Yes.
And you always hear, especially on Facebook, you'll see people talk about the attitude of gratitude and how important it is and all of that. And yeah, we can have those moments where we've got that heart feeling really strong. And you're going, oh, I'm really grateful for that, right? But we're going to go deeper into that today because it all kind of goes. In fact, Nicole mentioned before our program tonight that this is what month, Nicole?
It's National Stress Awareness Month.
Stress Awareness Month, right?
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's perfect because it fits right into what we're going to be talking about tonight. And it's kind of like everything fits into the other, right? If you're stressed out, you're not in the attitude of gratitude, right?
Stress Awareness Month.
Yeah. Yeah. Had no idea. Wow, had no idea that it was Stress Awareness Month, or no idea that they all are interconnected.
No, that it's Awareness Month. We're a little delayed. Yeah.
I thought it was Stress Month.
Yeah, Stress Awareness Month.
Oh, Stress Awareness Month. Okay, all right. So
we're almost at the end of the month, so we've missed the whole month.
Oh my gosh, what'll it be next month?
We'll find out.
You will. It'll be shocking.
Well, it gives us a topic. It's nice.
It is, and it's nice that you picked up on that today. That's awesome. Yes. And then the topic that we talked about last week, another reminder: be still and know that I am God. Yes. If you're stressed out, guess what? You're not
in faith.
You're not still, right?
Yeah.
Your mind is running all over the place, and it's running the show, not God. You're not letting God run the show. You're letting that little mind run your show, right?
Yes.
So it's all interconnected. And what made me think about the gratitude thing is, as I've mentioned on the show, currently I'm working as a cashier for Best Buy, right? And I get to work with hundreds of people all day long.
Hi, Melly.
Who's that?
Melly.
Hey, there she is. Hi, Melly. Welcome. Glad you're here as always. I am so honored to have the support that I have in this group. You guys are just the best. I love you all so much. I thank you for being here. So, as I was saying, I work with hundreds of people every day. And every day I get to see people who remind me to be grateful for what I have. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, chronologically, the age that I am, right? And that gratitude grows. And it's gotten to the point where I find myself in an attitude of gratitude probably 90% of the day, right? Now, there's always things that'll throw us off, right? Kick us out. Hey, Cheryl, welcome. Glad to see you here too.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we were talking about gratitude and the fact that I get to live in gratitude an awfully high percentage of the time. And the nice thing about that is I don't have time for all the negative thinking if I'm spending my time in gratitude, right? And we talked last week about how difficult it is to train the mind. There's all kinds of different words for the mind. It's the committee, it's the monkey mind, it's the, it's
Squirrel cage.
What is it?
Squirrel cage.
Squirrel cage. Yeah, all the different, words that we use for it. But the mind's natural tendency is to race out. And the world is so full of sense pleasures today, between social media and television and radio, and we're just being bombarded every moment of the day. And so the ability for the mind to sit and be still, like it says right here, is really hard. So we have to come up with all the ways we can to tame the savage beast without having it get crazy on us, right? It's kind of like, if you poke the bear, right? What is the bear going to do, right?
Poke back.
Yeah, our mind is that same way. So if you're being rough with your mind, going, shut up, I don't want to hear that stuff anymore, you're going to hear more of it, right? So it's kind of, and what brought me to thinking about this today, about the attitude of gratitude, was a young man who had a couple of children in the store, and one of them was like 1.5 years, and he's just darting off every second, and dad's got to keep an eye on him. He's got his head on a swivel, right, just trying to make sure this kid isn't running out the door. And he mentioned that he has to give the kids distractions, things to take their mind off of the thing that he doesn't want them thinking about, right? And I thought, well, it's the same with our mind, isn't it? So we have to give our mind better things to dwell on than the fact that my toe hurts, and I don't know why my toe hurts. Right now, that's just an example. My toes feel fine, but it's it's that case that if you don't give the mind something positive to dwell on, it's going to dwell on something not positive, right? So the whole process of training the mind to do what you want it to do, it's really like the wayward child or that wild Mustang that you're trying to tame, right? That's why you have movies about the horse whisperer and TV shows about dog whispering, right? It's all about getting that chaotic mind back to the still point. And we have our own chaotic minds, right? And, Cesar Millan would always talk about that he rehabilitates dogs and he trains humans. Something like that. Or it's the other way around. Either way, it's the same thing. Yeah. Is that, the dog is just symbolic of its owner, right? So if your dog is a neurotic mess, there's a good possibility you are too.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, it is kind of the way it works, right? Until we learn, it's just like with dogs, right? If you don't know how to train your dog, the dog's going to do all kinds of crazy stuff that you don't want it to do, right? So let's look at it this way. If you have a dog who's barking all the time, let's just say he's barking, right? Oh, I don't know. But let's say he's barking. And you get a hold of a dog trainer, and the dog trainer has this method that he uses, and it works when he's there. But as soon as he leaves, the dog goes back and does the same darn thing. Do you then decide, that's it, I've tried and there's nothing I can do, the dog's just going to bark and that's the way it goes?
No, we get rid of the dog.
Another way. You get another dog. Oh, that's cold.
No way.
Oh, God. So you do whatever you have to do. And that's the thing about dogs, right? Is that, dogs are the greatest example of unconditional love, aren't they?
Yes.
You can leave them alone for a week and forget to feed them and forget to water them and all of that. And the minute you walk in the door, they're just really happy to see you, right? And so that's the thing about dogs, is that they're that example of unconditional love. And because of that unconditional love, you're willing to go through almost anything to help them live a good life,
Yes.
right? So that's the what kind of relationship we want to build with our mind. Our soul only wants love, right? That's all the soul cares about, is love.
Yeah.
Wants to give love and wants to be loved. And it's the mind that gets all wrapped up in all of the sense pleasures and just gets distracted. The soul is supposed to be running the show. The mind is what's running most of our lives, right? When you get to where your soul is operating the show more than your mind is operating the show, life takes on a whole different experience, right? And I can tell you from personal experience, having my mind run every damn thing back when the dinosaurs were here, it's a lot better when the soul is doing more of the work, right? And the soul just wants happiness, right?
Yeah.
And the more you get to that level in your life, the nicer the whole journey is. And as my teacher would often say, and I've repeated this numerous times on our show here, you can either go in an air-conditioned limo or you can go kicking and screaming. Either way, you're going to go.
Yeah.
Right? People walk up to me at the store and say, how's your day going? I says, no matter what, it's going, no matter what I do. So I'm just going to watch the show and enjoy it, right? And
Yes.
that's what I do all day long. And I think I've mentioned this on the show, but again, I only have 1 or 2 brain cells that still click, so I may have forgotten, but but I ask the kids if they're having fun. And if mom and dad had just told them they can't have that candy that's on the shelf behind them, or if they didn't get the toy that they were begging for, they're going to be up there going, no, I'm not having any fun. This is terrible. Right? Most of the times, though, they'll go, yeah, we're having fun. It's okay, because you have to have fun every day. It's a rule, right? I made up the rule, but hey, it's a rule. And then I'll look at the parents and I'll say, I say this to the kids, but it's really a reminder for the parents.
Yeah.
Right? Because, you and I in particular, Nicole, know of some people that just don't allow themselves to have much fun, right? They're just plain miserable most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just a horrible way to live your life, right? I feel so bad for people that don't understand that it's just a decision, right? So the attitude of gratitude, going back to our theme tonight, the attitude of gratitude is a tool that you can use to help you, even if you are on medication, even if you have a tendency towards depression. As I said on the show before, and I'll say it over and over again, just for, again, we learn by repetition, right? So if I keep saying something and it's driving you guys nuts, just let me know, all right? Because then I'll say it more. Look at this one.
Yeah.
Did Jesus ride the dinosaurs when you babysat him? I love it. No, actually, that was before the dinosaurs. So we have to, so the whole idea is, even if you're taking medications, right? As I say all the time on our show here, if you're depressed and they suggest you take medications, take it. Because the whole idea is to get the brain chemicals back into some semblance of order, okay? Unfortunately, the way it works in the mental world, and I've talked to enough psychiatrists personally and professionally to know that it's not an exact science. There's no measurement of what the chemical levels are or what they should be. All they know all they have a reasonably good sense about is the fact that when the chemicals are off, people go through depression, psychotic breaks, all the different things that happen with the mind, right? So you have to give yourself the best chance you can to get back to that level point, right? But as we've also talked about, I'm not a believer in just take a pill and everything turns out okay. That doesn't work either. That just makes you an addict. Yeah. And as the Pink Floyd song goes, I have become comfortably numb. Right? Yeah. So we want more than that, right? We're human beings. We're God's children. We deserve more than just being comfortably numb, right? If you're going to be here, you might as well enjoy the ride. Get an A ticket, right? So practice, practice, practice. Practice looking at the things you have to be grateful for today. I'm going to ask my studio audience here, and those of you that are watching on the recording, Kimberly's got something for her.
Right.
Oh, this is going to be a good one. We're going to get to that in a minute. In fact, we'll get to it right now because it looks really good. Last week, I was stressing, waiting for some news about a possible promotion. It was keeping me up at night, driving me crazy for the call. One night, I remembered I wasn't wearing my whisper. As soon as I put that whisper on, it was an instant sense of relief. I knew then and there that whatever happens will happen, and cleared my mind and had the best sleep I had all week. Grateful for my job, grateful for my life.
I love it.
Perfect example of what we're talking about. Kimmy, you are awesome. That is exactly right. And that's what happens by wearing the whispers. I thank you for the commercial plug, but it is an absolute fact. And as I'm sure you could relate to, Kimmy and Melinda and Nicole and Cheryl and everyone who has ever seen a whisper or worn a whisper, it seems really weird that a little plastic thing like a whisper could change the way you feel. It's just a piece of plastic, right? How could that have any impact on the way you think and the way you feel? How could that possibly be? Well, I can tell you from my own experience 100 years ago that I went through that very same thing because I'd start wearing them. They were a different product back then, but still the same technology, same type of idea here. That I'd start wearing them and I'd feel better for a little while, and then I'd put them in the drawer, and then it'd be one day and I'd forget, and then it'd be 2 days and I'd forget, and then it'd be a month, and and then my life was out of control again, and I'd wonder what the hell happened. I was doing so well, right? And then I'd open the drawer and there they'd be, and I'd go, dang. And I finally had to realize that there really was something to it, right? I don't have to be a rocket scientist. I just have to put the damn things in my pocket and notice the difference, right? I just had a customer that bought our house filter. It's a filter that is about 6 inches long, maybe 8 inches long, 3 or 4 inches in height. And you plug it into your home, and you plug something into the other end that's running all the time, like a bus strip or whatever, a night light, whatever. And so that energy is circulating through it, right? And what it does is it corrects the flow of electromagnetic fields. That's that energy that showers out from electricity. And so the filter filters all that energy in the home. And within a few days, you start noticing, even if you've been wearing, like I've been wearing these things for 40 years now, right? But still, when I plug a new one into somebody's home for a demonstration, I can feel the energy in that home just getting lighter and lighter. And it's just an amazing experience, right? So for any of you interested in what you could do for your home, a house filter is something very special. All right. So she's grateful for her job, grateful for her life, and she's recognizing that what will happen, no matter what you do, right? And if you're all stressed out, National Stress Month, Stress Awareness Month, if you're stressed out wondering, oh my God, am I going to get this? Am I not going to do it? You're not going to function as well in your job as you would if you were in a state of gratitude.
That's right.
Right? When you're in a state of gratitude, you can look on somebody's desk and see a plant and go, oh, isn't that a beautiful plant? Right? And then what starts to happen as you practice this, and again, the word is practice, right? You can't just do it once and think you got it mastered, right? But, and that's the whole thing about life is that, most of us quit. It's like if somebody wants to lose weight, they'll go on a diet, right? And they'll do really good for like 3 weeks until someone throws a party and they've got your favorite pizza and they've got the ice cream that you absolutely love, right? And the chips that you like and the dip that's the perfect dip, right? And so you go out and you have yourself a ball that night. You wake up the next morning feeling like a complete loser, and then you quit your diet. For what? Right? And we do it over and over and over and over. What's the definition of insanity, Nicole?
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Exactly, right? So it's like people that are going to quit smoking, right? They struggle. It's so hard to quit smoking because it's addictive. There are chemicals in the tobacco that they actually put in there to make sure that you're addicted to the tobacco, right? And so when you go to quit, you go through withdrawal. And so people will go 2 or 3 weeks and they'll white knuckle it and they finally get to that point where they're just about past the worst of it and they'll have a smoke. Just when they were just about ready to get past the rough stuff, right?
Right.
And then they hate themselves again because they're a loser. They tried and they couldn't do it. And I'm weak. And, other people quit. Why can't I? And all that garbage we feed ourselves all the time, rather than just saying, well, I'm grateful that I got to try again. And I'm grateful that I can try again.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that attitude of gratitude.
Yes.
Melly's saying, I've been seeing these ads that pop up and they are hoodies for suicide prevention. I don't know who needs to hear this, but I have a need to say it. You are enough.
Yes.
Absolutely. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
I know a very beautiful young lady who used to love being angry. And she couldn't take a picture with a smile. All right. And now she smiles all the time. And I think it's
right there.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, look at that picture there.
Yeah, right. There's one right there. Look at that smile, right?
Yeah.
And it's and I'm sure that if she were to talk about it, she would tell you that back in those days, that's the way she thought she needed to be to protect herself. Right? And what you get to realize when you get on the other side of all this is that, in fact, we're gonna dig into this a little bit more tonight too, because I find it fascinating. But the real power doesn't come from being tough. And it doesn't come from ridiculing other people to make yourself feel better, right? That's not real power. The real power comes from love.
Yes.
And when you are living your life in a state of love, ain't nobody can touch you, right? That's real power, and it's real freedom. Because not many people have it. It's a very rare thing. And what I'm inviting all of us here to do is to get to that place for yourself. If you're not there now, if you're not happy 80, 90% of your day, we got some work to do. And that's okay, right?
Yes.
If you don't think that you are God's child and you're perfect just the way you are, we got some work to do. We got some adjustments to make, right? Because that's the real truth. Everything else is wrong. God didn't make any mistakes.
God didn't make junk.
No, God didn't make junk. It's our thinking. Excuse me, that's junk. It's
Yeah.
our thinking that's incorrect. Your soul is beautiful. You are beautiful just the way you are.
Yes.
And as you start to understand that, the journey gets lighter and lighter and lighter. And then you get, and the great thing about learning that for yourself is that you get to live a really nice life, right? It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter who's in your life. Nothing out there matters. It's in here.
Yes.
And nobody can take that away from you. You gave it away, but we're going to get it back, right? And here's Melinda talking about it. It took a lot of self-healing. I had to let go of all those feelings that were poisoning my soul. She is such a wise woman, isn't she?
Yes.
I'm so proud of you. You have come so far. And you're such a great example of what we're talking about here in this work, right? And one of my greatest honors in my life was getting to spend some formative years with Melinda.
Yes.
And to kind of help her guide her along to the path that she's on now, right? And here her sister says you are absolutely loved, right? Absolutely. Yes. And it's such a powerful thing, that word love, right? What is the first sentence? I don't know if it's the first sentence in the Bible, but it's the first big one I always remember is God is love.
Yeah.
Right? God is love. Love conquers all. And I feel bad for people that seem to need to be angry. They don't understand that it's like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die.
Yeah.
Right? And what a waste of the time they have here on this earth when they could be helping raise other people up rather than knocking them down. Right? And, we end our show every week with one question. What is that question I ask you every week, Nicole?
What do you do if you see someone without a smile?
Yeah, what would you do?
Give them one of mine.
Give them one of yours, right? Now, I happen to know that everybody that's watching our show tonight, because I'm very psychic, everybody on our show smiles a lot. And I know for a fact that every single person on this show tonight impacts other people with their smile, right? Irene, if that is Irene, and I believe it is, the one that we can't see the name on here, but if that is you, or whoever that is, I think it's Irene, but whoever it is, I would love to know if you had to name one thing that you've gotten from watching our show each week, what would that be? I'd love for everyone to answer that question for me, because I'm really trying to get participation going with the audience, right? I don't have to talk so much that way.
I just smile.
Yeah, right. And here's Kimberly with all the smiles. Those are smiles, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
I think
Okay. So, yes, smile. It's amazing how powerful a smile is. You can literally change somebody's day with just a smile.
Yes.
Right? How powerful is that? And it didn't cost you anything. Right? And yet it can mean so much. And that ability to smile is one of the things I'm really grateful for. I can't begin to tell you all the time. Well, I've told you a few of the times where people have actually stopped and wanted to say hello to me because they aren't used to seeing somebody that happy. Right? How powerful is that? And how special is that for me, right? I get to feel really great inside because I smiled.
Yeah.
How small a thing, and yet how powerful, right?
Yes.
And it goes back again to the gratitude, the attitude of gratitude. If you were talking about the good evening comment, that was my laugh out loud. I had to go give permission again to StreamYard. Oh, okay. Yes, that was you. Okay.
Well, we're
So,
glad you're here.
Kimberlyn, what is the number one thing you've gotten from being on our show each week? Because I know you're on almost every single week, right? You don't miss very many, if at all. So, and I really would love it if everybody that's on our call tonight could give me just a little feedback of something, of anything that you've gotten by watching our show that's made life a little easier for you, or something that you remember from, the week before that kind of helps you through the week. Because my purpose here is not just to talk, all right? God knows I get to do enough of that in my job. My purpose is to help you. And if I don't know if I'm helping you, I'm flying blind.
Well, I'll start.
Good.
So, there's times I'm out and about and it comes to mind of, just a smile can, brighten someone's day. You never know, right?
Yeah.
It will come to mind during the week, and I'm on here every week,
Yes.
So yeah.
So the smile has been something that's been important for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I tend to do that anyhow, but it brings me back to remember,
Well, and that's the whole point, right? Is that remembering, because
Yes.
we can get all wrapped up in what everything else is going on in the world rather than remembering the very simplest thing, which is to smile, right?
Yeah.
And here's Melly saying that I learned to smile at people more instead of just being in la la land. That means you're being present, right?
Yes.
And being present is the gift from God.
Yes.
Because when you're in la la land, you're missing out on everything and you don't even realize it, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier about being comfortably numb, right? Is you don't see, you don't feel, you're just there, right? Kind of goes back to my favorite saying, the Walt Whitman saying about the huddled masses live in quiet desperation, right? And just think, the huddled masses living in quiet desperation could start to change that today if they could just think of something to be grateful for.
Yes.
That's simple. No matter how bad things are going on in your day, it's not going to last forever. And you can think of something to be grateful for, right? And if you can't, then give me a call. I'll put the number up again before we get off the call today. If you can't think of something to be grateful for today, give me a call and I'll remind you of something within, 5 seconds maybe, right? All right. And so here's another comment. People may need a smile. And even if they don't need one, they're always happy to get one, right?
You miss Kimmy's.
I miss Kimmy's? Where is it? To
Above
remember
Melinda's. Yeah.
that whatever is happening, it's just a moment, whether it be a good or a bad one, but still just a moment, right? And that's perfect, Kimberly, because I talk all the time about how, I could ask somebody how their day's going and they'll go, oh, I'm having a horrible day. And I'll say, really? The whole day? Right? No, it's a moment. And, I'm into short-term suffering. I don't like long-term suffering, right? So I want to get out of that bad stuff as quickly as I can.
Yeah.
Because first of all, it doesn't serve me and it doesn't serve you, right? If I'm in a pity pot, if I'm having a horrible afternoon and everything's miserable, I'm not making your life any better, am I?
No, probably not
No.
yours either.
Exactly. All I'm doing is spreading the misery. Well, you know
Yeah.
the old saying, misery loves company, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to go there anymore, right? Haven't we all done that enough in our lives already,
Yeah.
right? So this is what the power hour is all about, is reclaiming the power of your life. Here we go. We're getting the good stuff now. Kim, Nellie, I so appreciate you. I love you so much. You know that, I know. In middle school, there was a kid I was talking to, and he told me that there was a kid walking past him all upset and sad. He said hi to the kid and asked him how he was doing. The kid looked at him with tears in his eyes, thinking he was invisible, and said to him, I was going to go home and shoot myself. I don't think anyone would care. And he gave him the bullet. It was so heart-wrenching. We just need to be kind to people. You never know what they're going through. And that's absolutely true.
Yes.
Absolutely true. You know, it's those stories, Melly. That's what I've been talking about, is why I need participation from my audience, right? Because we all have stories, and you guys have heard mine ad nauseum, I'm sure, right? But we all have stories like that one that is so powerful. You don't know who might be reading the comments next year and see that comment and be in that place himself where he was thinking of ending it, right? Who might, for that moment. In fact, that so reminds me, and I know I shared that story on here. I was thinking about it as I was reading this one, about the young lady that came up when I was doing balancings in front of a health food store. And as she was walking by, I said, hi, how are you doing? And she got a balancing out front, and she had tears pouring down her face. I said, what's going on? She said, you don't know what you did to me. And I said, what? She said, you saw me. I spent the whole day thinking I was invisible. That's exactly what you said here, Melly, right? And yes, I'm having a hard time with the Melly thing. I got to get used to it, but because I know you as Melinda my whole life, right? Your whole life. But
you miss Cheryl's.
Oh, I'll get her. I'll get her. Oh, Dan Ayers is there. How about that? My goodness, it is growing. Yes. Hi, Dan. Nice to see you. Glad you're here. Cheryl. Let's get Cheryl here too. It's better to lift someone up than to tear them down. And why have people forgotten that? I don't get it. What's going on in our world, right? So much hate. But you know, here's the thing about hate. When you let it go, you let it go. If you're holding on to it, it's going to fester. It's kind of like getting an infection, right? And until that fever breaks, you're in that fever. So people that are angry probably don't even realize they're angry. And they certainly don't understand what it is they're really angry about. Because I can almost guarantee you it's not what they think it is. Right? Dan, I'm glad that you're here today, and give us I've been asking people to participate with us here because God knows I get sick of hearing myself, and I'm sure you guys do too. But what is going on with you, Dan? And this is the Positive Power Hour. It's all about helping people to get their power back and to create the kind of life they want to create. And Dan, I know, is a person that helps other people, just like what we're talking about here today. And I'd love to hear how things are going in your world. So if you feel like it, give us a comment. That would be awesome. And yes, most of the people that are on this call, I know, and that's really cool, right? So yes, the attitude of gratitude. I'm grateful that Dan's on the call tonight. I'm grateful that everybody that's on our call tonight is here. We've had some absolutely awesome comments, especially from Melinda, but Kimberly too, and Cheryl, and gosh, wonderful.
I think you just called her Kimberly.
I did, didn't I? Kimberlyn. Kimmy. So I got to get the nicknames down. I gotta get better at it. Oh, yes, it's better to lift someone up than to tear them down.
Yeah.
And and again, the whole idea is learning to turn that giant ship in the ocean away from the negative pole to the positive pole, right?
Yes.
And that's what we're doing in this class. And that's what I've done for many, many years now, is to kind of help people that have lost their way to find the right way.
Yeah.
And
I think that the comment that's gotten most popular is, if you can't help someone, at least don't hurt them.
yeah, I think that's wonderful. And Kimmy says, still love you, Papa. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. My children and grandchildren and great grandchildren are all so forgiving. They all put up with me. I'm so
And
fortunate.
they're full of love. I love it.
I know, right? You must have done something right?
Such loving people.
Now, she's an awesome mother and an awesome grandmother.
I am.
How many grandchildren now?
2.
2. How about that, huh?
2 and counting.
Yes, there's more coming, I suspect. So the attitude of gratitude is practicing training the mind to focusing on the positive, right? Every day I get to see somebody on a walker who can't stand up on their own without losing their balance or having a knee issue or a hip or whatever the situation is, right? So there's always people, patience, young grasshopper. There's always people that have it worse, no matter what situation you have in your life. But again, to go back to the big thing about the attitude of gratitude is that this is the gentle way of training your mind the way you want it to think. Yeah. Because the mind doesn't have the ability to discern. It only takes the information that's given, and then it churns that information out, right? So you have to train the mind into what it is you want it to think. There was a big article on TV the other night about artificial intelligence and what a fine line they have to walk with it, because they're noticing now that the machines are starting to think on their own and figure things out on their own.
Do.
Exactly right? Once again, man has the ability to create great things, and we also have the ability to blow everything up, don't we? So we'll see how all this turns out. At least you guys will. I don't know if I'll be around to see all this artificial intelligence stuff working the way it's going to work, but enough of it, I'm sure, right? So we want to train our mind to think the way we want it to. In our earlier years, our mind told us what was going on. And most of the time it told us rather negative, painful, hurtful things, right? And as I say all the time, and again, I know I repeat myself a lot, but that's also because that's how we learn, right? Repetition. Yeah, answer the door. This is live, folks. You never know what's going to happen, right? Where were we? Talking about repetition, right? So with the mind, you have to constantly feed it the positive things. And then slowly and slowly, as my teacher used to always say, slowly and slowly, the mind starts to turn in the direction you want it to go in. Kind of like when you get that dog trained, not to bark, right? The dog is just as happy. In fact, he's happier because now he's not going crazy all the time, right? And it's the same thing with the mind. When you give the mind positive things to focus on, it'll focus on those things because that's what you've directed it to. But most of us never grew up. We've talked about this on the show before, right? Most of us were never told that we had to train our minds. We thought our mind was our mind and it does what it does. And in fact, I heard a man that I always enjoyed who stood up one day and proclaimed that he doesn't have any control over what his mind thinks, but he does have control over what he acts on. And my immediate thought was, oh my God, what a prisoner that is. If your mind is running 90 miles an hour, feeding you junk all day long, and you have to discern which thought you're going to focus on and which one you're not, oh my God, where does that give you any time for joy? Right? So we have to start at the beginning, right? We have to start with what is our mind feeding us and say, whoa, 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 I love you, but I want you to think this. All right. Let's focus on how beautiful that clock is behind Nicole's head. Right. Let's focus on how pretty Nicole looks tonight, right? And let's not focus on how Dan looks because God, that poor guy, right? So that's the whole idea. Practice, practice, practice. It's like the basketball player Allen Iverson was once asked about practice and why he doesn't believe in practicing. He goes, it's practice, man. It's practice. It's not the game, it's practice. Who needs to practice? Well, we all do, right? So let's practice this week increasing our attitude of gratitude. All right. Let's look at everything and think and have, it's like I saw a baby come into the store the other day and he looked up at me and he's like, oh, and I was thinking, that's that wide-eyed excitement of life that a child has every day, right? And that's the way we ought to live. We ought to have excitement for every day. What experience am I going to get today that I'm not expecting, right? And when you live in the moment, you get to have those experiences all the time. But if you're in la la land, I have become comfortably numb, right? Yeah. So giving the attitude of gratitude, thinking more about how can I serve rather than what am I getting, then life becomes so exciting. And let's see, sometimes that excitement is too much when that same baby kept mama and dada up for hours at night. Yeah, well,
I was going to say that baby's not teething.
Yes, teething. Oh my goodness. I remember at Christmas when she got that plush doll, and the first thing was everything went in her mouth, right? Every carton, every box, everything was right in the mouth, right? Teething.
Yeah.
But Melly, this too shall pass, right? And if we're judging this is horrible, then guess what?
It's horrible.
Yeah. If we're going, oh, poor thing, look what she's going through, and just give her love and give her ice cubes, right? Or whatever, crushed ice, whatever you can to help numb the gums there, right? While those teeth are popping out. But yes, so attitude of gratitude. I am so grateful for all of you.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. I know, laugh out loud, then they become hormonal teenagers. Richard.
The cycle of life.
Yes, what you sow, so shall ye reap. Yeah, that's one of the great things about the cycle of life, like you were just mentioning, Nicole, is that you get to experience everything you put your parents through. Yeah. Right? And it gives you a greater appreciation for that. Cheryl says yes. You get to have a greater appreciation for the things your parents go through to help bring you to the point in life where you are today, right? And I really truly believe I gave my mom hell. Yeah, well, we all did, right? We all gave our parents hell. That's all part of the journey, right? But it's a joy. I firmly believe that every generation is getting better, physically, emotionally, most importantly, mentally. And as we learn or unlearn, if we learn to love and unlearn the hate and unlearn the judgment and all of the things that many of us taught our children as we were growing through because we didn't know any better, right? We're creating better citizens, hopefully, for the next generation, right?
I
And
hope
so,
so, because they have to take care of me.
yeah, right. Yeah, Melinda, you better get a better job. Kimmy, you too. God, take care of mom.
Oh, jeez.
So practice this week with the attitude of gratitude. All right. Remember that you teach people more by who you are than you do by what you say. Just kidding. Nursing home. Wow. Sorry,
Sorry, didn't get the promotion.
Aw.
That's
All
just,
right. It just means a better thing is coming along, right?
if Jose was here, he'd probably say, the ditch is getting better too.
Go what?
The ditch
The ditch?
that he's going to put me in.
Oh, Luke, I'm not.
You're getting better, Luke.
Luke is, just because I can, it's my show. I can do whatever I want, right? It's dirt nap. Yep. Just kidding, Mom. I love you. But I wanted to mention Luke for a minute because he is such an awesome father.
Yes.
And an awesome husband. And, we grow into these things, right? None of us knew how to do it when we started, right? But, and so he's the example of making a decision within himself to be more than, to be better than he was, right? And we all need to do that. We all need to strive to be a better human being, a better father, a better son. That's exactly right, Cheryl. Yes, right? And I'm so proud of him, right? I mean, watching him raise his son, Richard, and now his beautiful daughter, right? And the family that he has created, and all of them have created. It's just something very special. And I'm very proud of every single member of this family. I really and truly am. It's an awesome family. And so with the attitude of gratitude, I'm grateful for everybody. Dan, you too. Nice that you're on the call.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm grateful that you're here tonight. And I hope that you'll all spend some time this weekend, increased amount of time. Yeah, he's all right. That you'll increase the amount of time that you spend on gratitude. Because no matter what we're going through in our lives, there are so many things for us to be grateful for. And if we're spending time thinking about that, we won't have much time for thinking of the negative stuff, right? So, one of my favorite sayings is you can either be a wonderful role model or a horrible example. And everybody does that all day long. And Kimmy says, I love every one of you. Yes. Isn't that nice, right? It's a good way to feel, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
Yes. So, Nicole, as we're ending the show tonight, if you were to see somebody without a smile on their face, what do you think you could do?
I could give them one of mine.
And why would you do that?
They're free.
They're free.
And it makes them feel so good.
Yeah. And what does it do for you?
Makes me feel good too.
Isn't that amazing, right? Compound benefits. I love it. So to all of you, have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, bye all. Love you all very much. Take care. Bye-bye.